Welcome to episode 16 of this West Ham Creating a Legacy series. In this video, I'm going to show you the first half of my 8th season in charge of the club. If you missed episode 15, go and check that out first, because that is the episode where I showed you all of the summer transfer activity. It was a very, very busy summer for the club. We've got new owners, we've signed 2 players for over £100 million and another for £95 million. We sold lots of players. It has been very busy. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to this season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So in the last episode, I did show you the result of our Community Shield match against Spurs. We managed to win this competition for a 3rd season in a row, as you can see here. And we made it 4 European Super Cup wins in a row after beating Bayer Leverkusen 3-1. Our new £144 million man scored the opening goal in the game. In fact, it wasn't the opening goal because they opened the scoring, but we turned it around with this goal from Pesera. And another Argentinian, our Argentinian left winger, Wonder Kid, scored an absolute belter to win us the game. What a strike that was. And Pesera confirmed victory. A long lump from Pellegrini. Pesera ran onto it and finished. He's already scoring goals for the club. We've won our first 2 Premier League games of the season as well, and he scored a hat-trick against Birmingham City. He is a stunning player. 6 goals in 4 appearances for the club already. It's now the start of October and we have won every single game this season. We beat Newcastle 4-0, Southampton 3-0, Brighton 5-0. It's a pretty easy start to our Premier League season, as you can see there. And then a 5-0 win in the Champions League, a 3-0 win against Watford, a 3-1 win in the Carabao Cup against Leeds, a massive win against Liverpool in the league at Anfield. Pesera with another goal and Dilrosun with a penalty to steal all 3 points there after they took the lead through Leroy Sané. And most recently, a 2-0 win against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Dilrosun and Shepherd with the goals. We are flying. No surprise, really. We are absolutely flying. Pesera's top goal scorer of 11 goals. Everyone is playing brilliantly, including the young players coming in. I am rotating the team quite a lot because of all the games we have, obviously the Champions League, the Carabao Cup. I am trying to give game time to all of the youngsters that we have, and everyone's taken their chance. 1 month later and we still have a 100% record this season. It really has been phenomenal. We had a difficult spell there, beating Liverpool, Atletico Madrid and then Man United we beat 1-0 thanks to Pesera. And a 2-0 win against Chelsea as well before beating PSV 4-2, Aston Villa 4-0, 4-0 win against League 2 Bolton Wanderers, 3-1 win against Leicester, who were actually, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the table at the time, in the top 4 I think anyway, and PSV, 2-0 win against them in the Champions League, flying in the Champions League, flying in the league, 33 points from a possible 33. Pesera has got 14 goals in the league and 17 goals in all competitions. What a player this guy is. He really is unbelievably good. But he has to be good. He's earning 425k a week plus an appearance fee of 120 grand and a goal bonus of 120 grand. This guy might bankrupt us. I'm slightly worried because the bank balance is certainly declining. Obviously we spent so much money in the summer. But yeah, I'm not sure we're bringing in enough money to cover everyone's wages, because although we're spending £4.5 million in wages, it's below the wage budget. But then if you include all the bonuses, this doesn't include the bonuses, does it? So I'm not sure what's going to happen long term to our finances with the mega contracts that we now have. Of course, Pesera's on the biggest one, but then Harold Allen, our wonder kid left back, on 275k a week. Savitsky, who's not even starting, he's mainly coming off the bench and he's earning 215k a week. And then all these players, look at that. And then poor old Hugo Flores, our Uruguayan wonder kid at the bottom, on 8k a week. I mean, I'd love that. I'd absolutely love to be Hugo Flores, but he must look at everyone else, and the rich poor divide at the club is quite extreme in some ways. 14 games in and we're still going. 14 wins from 14, 44 goals scored and 4 conceded. Quite strange symmetry there. We've beaten Wolves 3-1, Derby 3-0, a 6-0 win in the Champions League and a 4-0 win in the league. Everyone's getting involved. Harry Dunleavy with 2 goals in this game. He's brilliant. I really like this guy. He's an England under-21 international. He's described as a wonder kid. Of course, he signed him from Southampton for £28.5 million in the summer. He's back up for Cameron Kemp, but one day I think he's going to be better than Cameron Kemp. I really do. I mean, Kemp's been brilliant once again this season. 8 goals, 3 assists, an incredible average rating. But he's going to have to look over his shoulder because Dunleavy, he wants his place in the first team. Pesera, he might get to 18 goals before the halfway point in the season. I think he will actually. He's already on 18 and still a few games to go before the halfway stage. If we look at other really good performing players, we've got the 2 youngsters there in Cassini. He's only played 3 games, but he's got 3 goals in the Carabao Cup, as you can see there. And Harry Dunleavy up there. Pesera. Amato, he's played well. Amato the Tabato at right back. We've got so much strength in depth. And I love the fact that our strength in depth is mainly young players. We've done it! At the halfway stage of this Premier League season, we have won all 19 games, scoring 57 in the process and only conceding 5. We haven't conceded more than 1 goal in a game. That is truly phenomenal. No surprise, Pesera is top goal scorer with 18 goals. He's not actually played 19 Premier League games either because of the rotation. He's got 18 Premier League goals in 18 appearances, 15 starts and 3 sub appearances. He's only missed 1 game actually, looking at that. 23 goals in all competitions this season in 21 starts and 3 sub appearances. Dilrosun with the highest average rating in the league. 14 goals and 14 assists this season. He is absolutely ludicrous. He really is unbelievably good. He's only got 2 years left on his contract. He's 28 though, and once again I asked the question of myself, but also maybe you guys. What do I do? Do we give him a new mega contract, which will probably be 300k a week, I would guess at least? And accept that he's probably going to be here in his early 30s, or do we cash in? Do we try and cash in on him now whilst he's worth a lot of money? I don't think a club's going to be willing to spend what I think he's worth though. Surely he's worth over £100 million, but is anyone going to pay that? Do any other clubs? The problem with becoming the most powerful club in the world is no one expects you to sell your star players. They just expect you to keep them. But I kind of have this idealistic view that at some point the whole team is going to be players that I've either signed when they were young, sort of under the age of 23, or brought up through my own academy. They won't all necessarily be the age of 21, but you know that at some point I signed them when they were young, and or brought them through the youth system. Having said that, didn't I sign Dilrosun when he was 23? Possibly. I think he was 23, so I suppose he would fit in with that, I guess. Anyway, magnificent season from him. Also Pesera on that average rating list. Cameron Kemp still flying. Unfortunately, he's picked up an injury. He's out for 3 weeks, I think. Oh, he's got back. He's come back. He was out for a little bit, but I think he played in the last game, in fact. So he's back now. No surprise that Kenneth has got the highest number of clean sheets this season, and his average rating has improved slightly, and I think that's helped by the fact that we're playing a sweeper keeper on attack these days. Still going with the shadow striker. I tried to experiment with an attacking midfielder, and that just didn't work. It really didn't work in a game, so I quickly switched it to shadow striker. Although this position doesn't get the best ratings, it doesn't get loads of assists and goals, I think it's actually really beneficial for the entire team as a whole. It's almost like a distraction. As a shadow striker, he's a distraction for Pesera here, who gets all the goals. He's distracting the defenders, just adding an extra element for a back four to worry about. He's also a distraction for the attacking wingers as well. I'm not really sure if that is true or not. I might be talking complete crap. But from what I've seen in the highlights, having that shadow striker is effective for the team. He's more of a sacrificial lamb, I suppose. Germano doesn't get loads of goals, he doesn't get loads of assists, he doesn't have the best average rating, but it definitely works for the rest of the team. Where is he? Here he is. His average rating 7.08, 4 goals, 2 assists. It's not bad, but when you compare him to the other attacking players in Dilrosun and Pesera and Kemp, it's not quite as effective. I have changed the tactic, by the way, since the last episode in a couple of things. So Kemp doesn't have shoot more often on now. He did score a lot of goals with that, but I've noticed that he shoots far too often from a ridiculous angle. I think he's better served in creating, because he's got dribbling of 17, decent crossing. His finishing isn't his strong point, so I think it makes sense for him to try and set other players up. Having said that, he's only got 4 assists this season, but I think his key passing, and creating opportunities that aren't always scored is enabling him to get a really, really good average rating, because statistically 12 goal contributions in 18 games, that's good, but it's not amazing for the team that we have. But his average rating speaks for itself. He's obviously playing really, really well. He's improving still as a player. He's managed to get 8 caps for England now. Hasn't managed to add to his hat-trick that he scored at the World Cup, but he's still playing for England. Shepherd as well, playing for England. 3 goals in 18 games. Declan Rice marches on for England. Where is he? He's got 71 caps and 7 goals for his country now, and he's only 27 still. Aarons as well. He's got 23 caps at England. And of course, Harold Allen is our other England star with 1 goal in 19 games he scored recently for England. We've got some superstars in this team. I'll just quickly show you the statistics. So Pissarro, 23 goals in all competitions. Dillerson second. Dunleavy has been really impressive, as I said a few minutes ago. I really like the look of him. He's actually level with Kemp in goals and assists. He has played the weaker opposition on the whole, though. Bear that in mind. Botero, he's definitely having a better year this year. 7 goals. 1 is in the Leeson.com trophy. 6 goals in the first team. He's certainly still improving. 23 years old. 3 caps for Colombia now. He's a good backup striker for Pissarro. He's similar because he's an advanced forward, and he actually has quite similar attacking attributes. If you look at this, Pissarro 18 on dribbling, 17 on finishing. Botero's always had that as well, 18 and 17. It's just some of his mentals aren't quite as strong, maybe physically not quite as strong as well. But he is a capable backup. And then, of course, we've got Cassini, who also is a decent third option up front. Assists-wise, Dillerson he's just on another level. But Lewis Shepherd, what a player this guy is. He really is. He's been described as a wonder kid until recently. He's now tireless midfielder. I don't think it'll be too long before that changes to elite or world-class midfielder. Surely it's not too far away from him being described as that, especially if someone like Savitsky is described as a world-class midfielder, and he's our third choice central midfielder behind Rice and Shepherd. Remember, he's played well when he's been called upon. He's appeared in most games, to be fair, 28 appearances. It's just he mainly comes off the bench. In fact, he probably has made the most appearances apart from Kenneth. He's actually made 1 more than Kenneth. So yeah, he either starts in the weaker games or he comes off the bench. The Savitsky. Man of the match wise, Pissarro dominating, and also really good average rating. Cassini's not appeared any more times. But look at this. It's quite remarkable. There's only 2 players that have under a 7.0 average rating. And those are the goalkeepers. And we know that it's really difficult for goalkeepers to get good ratings. So it's no surprise that every outfield player has an average rating over a 7.0. That is quite special. The other special thing is not only have we won every single game in the Premier League this season, we have won every single game in every single competition, including friendlies as well, and the Community Shield and the European Super Cup final, of course, and the Champions League and the Carabao Cup. Recently we qualified for the semi-finals after defeating Arsenal, which you can see there. We also beat Atletico Madrid twice. We won every single game in the Champions League, scoring 20 goals and conceding 2. We're going to be playing Porto in the next round, I think, which don't want to underestimate them, but we should be going through to the quarter-final. We've got Wolves in the Carabao Cup semi-final across those 2 legs, and in the FA Cup third round, strangely enough. So we're taking them on quite a few times over the coming weeks. In recent matches, this was the most impressive win in the league of the season. A 4-0 thrashing of Man City away from home. A team that's been our bogey team in recent years in the league. We haven't beaten them for about 3 years, I don't think, in the league. And in the first half, we absolutely blitzed them. Away from home as well. It really was special. Germano opened the scoring. Pissarro scored 2 minutes later. Shepherd scored, and Dillerson. I always find it frustrating when you're like 4-0 up at half time and you don't score in the second half. You just take the foot off the gas, I suppose. In fact, let's have a look at our recent fixtures against Man City so we can just see how much of a problem they have been for us in recent years. So, in the league, our last win against them was actually back 3 years ago. September 2023. Yes, we beat them on penalties in the Community Shield. We've also managed to get draws against them, and we beat them in the FA Cup semi-final. But in the league, they were our bogey team. We do have a better record against them than they have against us. But that was a long overdue win in the Premier League, and we absolutely destroyed them. Liverpool, the other team that's been a bogey team during this series, they do have a better record against us. We've lost a lot of league games against them, and of course we did lose the Champions League final, the World Club Championship. We've lost against them twice in that competition, I think. Yeah, quite recently, last summer. But overall, in recent times, we have been better in the big games. We've beaten them in the Champions League final, and we've beaten them in some big Premier League games. But it would be nice to overturn this at some point. If we win our next 5 games against them, then we will be level, but that's relying on us winning 5 in a row. We've beaten them this season, though, and that was a really impressive win away from home. Question is, can we win every single Premier League game? I don't think I've ever managed that. I'm just trying to rack my brain. There's a possibility I have. Either way, it would be an unbelievable achievement. We've not gone unbeaten in the league since back in the 2021-22 season. That was a special season. I use the word special a lot in this series because it really has been remarkable at times. And then, of course, 2 years ago, 105 points. Last year, 102. We're already up to 57. Oh, can we do it? I think I might have won every single game once upon a time. With West Ham, in fact. A long time ago. And it was when I had a completely dominant team. There's a strong possibility we could go unbeaten in every single competition this year. I've still not won the quadruple. Remember, that is a really top aim for me, to win the actual quadruple. Of course, we've also won the European Super Cup and the Community Shield this year, so there could be lots of trophies in our cabinet this year. It's just really, the new signings have slotted nicely into the team. The tactic is working really well. But switching to the advanced forward with Pesera, he's getting tons of goals. It really is working. Let's take a look at the youth then. So, under 23s wise, we're going strong in the leasing.com trophy. We're through to the quarterfinal, 3rd round of the South section. Of course, we've just been playing friendlies. We still haven't been invited to the league. I think it's some sort of bug. We've just not... Since I rejected it a few years ago, I've never been invited back to the under-23 league. They might just be offended that I rejected them once upon a time. And the under-18s, not such a good year. They're second in the league. Quite a long way behind Arsenal. We've managed to win it last year. Obviously lost in the final against Man United. And we have won it most years. It's between us and Arsenal, but this year it seems that Arsenal, it's a good sign of how good your recent youth intake has been. Obviously Arsenal must have had a really good one last year, and perhaps ours wasn't as strong. But the youth, the recent players in the last couple of years have been really impressive. I've promoted to the under-23s. They're still playing under-18 football, but some of them have gone out on loan as well. MacArthur is the strongest one of last year's intake. He does look very impressive, actually. And I think he's played quite well for the under-18s and the under-23s this season. This is the under-23 team. Has MacArthur not played for the under-23s? That's really weird. He must have done. He's got a good average rating. It's just not showing here for some reason. Not sure what's going on there. It's not showing for the under-18s as well. I don't know what's happened there. That's really weird. There's plenty of players out on loan. Simon Leach has impressed me at Bristol City in the Championship. He's got 13 goals and 5 assists. I think I mentioned him in either the last episode or the episode before that he'd really recovered from an injury that he picked up in either the first or second season that set him back. He had this high potential from the start. Picked up a really bad injury for like 8 months or something. But he does seem to have recovered from that completely. And he's a really good all-round striker. He is an advanced forward, which fits our new system. I think he could probably do a job as a pressing forward. Not bravery's a bit low, but I think he's a really... I like the look of him. He's fast. Mentally, there's some good things there. Technically, I think everything is going to go up. And he's having a really good season at Bristol City, which will only do him good. Other players to impress me, Julian Ramirez, who's described as a wonder kid out on loan in Spain, is having a good year. Barry Bruce playing well for Wimbledon in League 2. Cesar Sanchez, our Peruvian international, still hasn't managed to get a work permit, but he's on loan in Belgium and playing fairly well. 6 goals in 16 games. I'll just scroll down and you can see the performances of some of these players. Now, the ones towards the bottom, I'm going to recall. Richard Robinson isn't having the best time at QPR. He's played plenty of games, but I want him to be performing well as well. So players that are kind of below this level, I think it's best to recall them and try and find a club for them, give them another go at another club that will hopefully enable them to get better average ratings, because some of these Just some of these players just aren't playing particularly well, especially ones with potential. I want them to be at the best club possible for them. Youth candidates this year, by the way, you get a sort of notification. I think it's in the start of December, and it looks forward to your youth recruitment in March. Apparently it's going to be mediocre this year. It could possibly be the worst youth recruitment yet, because every year we've had a player of some quality. That first season was actually Cameron Kemp coming through. 1920 season. And he's gone on to stardom, of course. And he came through our academy in that first year. Lewis Shepherd came through in 2 years after that, and he's an incredible player. I think there was Katala the year in between, actually. He's obviously not a starter for us. Where is Katala? He's not a starter for us, but he did... Yes, that's right. He came through in the 2021 season. So we've had a really impressive player come through every single season, I think. And in recent years, we've had players with potential coming through. Dan Suarez came through 2 years ago, and he's described as a wonder kid now. I'm really looking forward to him breaking into the first team. He's in the first team, but I'm looking forward to him actually pushing the likes of Declan Rice and Shepherd and trying to steal their place. He's played very well when he's been called upon. So we really have produced a lot of players through our academy. And even before this point, of course, before the start of the series, Declan Rice through the academy, Cardoso as well. Both of them signed from other teams at the youth level, but they played for the youth teams. I'm delighted. Is there anyone else? I'm trying to think. Oh, Cassini, of course. Cassini's come through our academy. I know we signed him, but we signed him for our youth team. So he's not come through our academy, but we signed him for the youth team. Obviously, Dunleavy, not through our academy, but another young player we've signed before the age of 18. Looking ahead to the transfer window, I don't think there's anyone coming in January, which is strange. I always usually have loads of Colombians coming in, but I've kind of gone off the Colombians. Botero's been the only one that's been really successful. However, I have made a lot of money from the Colombians we have signed, of course, or the other South Americans. Of course, back in the summer we did sell one for almost £10 million. Who was it? It was Jose Lara, of course. Yeah, I sold him for a decent amount of money. So I've made profit from the South American acquisitions. It's just really hard to get a work permit for them, which is a little bit frustrating, but there we go. So I think that's it. That's everything to talk about in this episode 16. We've had a phenomenal first half to the season. Hopefully we can push on. I'd love to at least go unbeaten this year. If we can win every single Premier League game, that would be an unbelievable achievement. And I suppose top of my list, I want to win the quadruple. I'd take that over everything. If we can win all 4 major competitions that we're in, that would be perfect. If I can't do that, the next best option will be to go unbeaten in the Premier League, I suppose. In an ideal world, winning every single game. But that's going to be really tough to keep up, especially as we enter the latter stages of the Champions League. We might be in the latter stages of the FA Cup. We hopefully will reach the Carabao Cup final. So there's loads to look forward to. But we'll end it there. Until next time, enjoy FM20. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you very soon.